Hey there, I'm Mark, in affiliation with Spectrum Pulse, and today is the Weeknd's album bomb, amongst other things, and this, it's Billboard BREAKDOwn. I don't remember. And here I was thinking that the Hurry Up Tomorrow album bomb would be the biggest story, and on some level it is. But the charts post-Grammys always tend to be a little bit more erratic, with more going on in the details, and that certainly feels true this week. Again, kind of hard to assess whether any of it will contribute to a larger trend. The Hot 100 has felt a little off to me all year so far, some of that the extended hangover from 2024, but if this is enough of an album bomb to properly jumpstart the year or just clean house, I'm on board. Of course, that would mean it has to seriously move the top 10, because Die With a Smile by Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars went back to number 1. I'm not surprised it's holding the top spot with consistent strength in every channel, but it is a reminder that this sort of easy listening always tends to stick around on the charts more than anyone really wants. But we do have a challenger debuting at number 2. It's just a shame that it's I'm the Problem by Morgan Wallen, which rolled through on huge streaming and sales, with the lack of serious radio being the only reason it didn't get the number 1. I'll save my easy jokes for discussing the song itself, but it certainly looks more sustainable than whatever Travis Scott was doing. Joy. Hell, it was enough to push over to Luther by Kendrick Lamar and SZA at number 3, which has rock solid streaming and real radio momentum. It just needs to cut into the margins if there's a shot of taking it to the top, or have any consistent sales. You gotta think the Super Bowl performance might help a little bit there. But right behind it is Birds of a Feather by Billie Eilish at number 4, which saw the expected Grammy performance bounce on streams to make up for the radio wavering a lot, and that allowed her to leapfrog a bar song Tipsy by Shaboozey at number 5, which is still dominant on the radio, but it is fading. It really only held its position on a good streaming week. Now that was all enough to push back Apartment by Rosé and Bruno Mars down to number 6. The radio is still good, but it saw a sharp decline on streaming, a possible sign of losing steam. But then we saw a trace of that album bomb from the Weeknd with Timeless with Playboi Carti going to number 7 off the streams and decent residual radio. Gotta love one of the worst songs on the album getting momentum over, I don't know, anything else. That was enough to push back Lose Control by Teddy Swims to number 8, and the traction's fading across the board. It certainly has had one hell of a run. But then we got Beautiful Things by Benson Boone also getting a Grammy performance push to number 9, as if I wasn't sick of this song nearly a year ago. Finally, we got TV Off by Kendrick Lamar featuring Lefty Gunplay at number 10. I'm a little bit shocked it's gotten as much radio as it has, but with rock solid streaming and the Super Bowl performance, it could well get even higher. That'd be pretty cool. Now on the flip side are losers and dropouts, and as expected, there's a lot. In the latter group, the biggest song exiting is I Am Not Okay by Jelly Roll, which handily clinched the year-end list spot for 2025, and looks to be considerably more tenuous for It's Okay, I'm Okay by Tate McRae, or Defying Gravity from Wicked. But a full quarter of the Hot 100 lost this week, so let's start off with the new arrivals that aren't getting traction. On the topic of Tate McRae, Sports Car slid to 33, Fat, Juicy and Wet by Sexy Red and Bruno Mars stumbled to 34, Haunted by Kane Brown and Jelly Roll mercifully fell to 85, and as expected, 4x4 by Travis Scott fell all the way from number 1 to 57. That might as well be the largest drop-off from the top spot in history. Then off the return, Residuals by Chris Brown slid back to 52, and we had a slew of gains, as expected, lost some gas, specifically from Teddy Swims as the album boost faded for Bad Dreams at 61, and Are You Even Real with Giveon at 78, along with The Largest by Big X The Plug at 83. But then we had continued losers, and a lot were from Bad Bunny. Nueva Yol at 37, Velda with Omar Courtz and Delvey at 67, El Club at 70, Well Tito with Chewy at 87, Close Friends at 93, Perfumito Nuevo with Rey Now at 94, and for good measure, Baile Inolvidable at 26, Voy a Levarte la Portorito at 55, EO at 59, and Que Pasario with Raul Alejandro at 76. And there were more Spanish language losses. Tu Boda by Oscar Maiden, Fuerza Regida at 77, and from Tito Double P, both Rosaniz and Nadi went to 97 and 98 respectively. The rest... BMF by SZA fell to 42, No Pole by Don Toliver fell to 86, Help Me with Real Boston Richie hit 89, and The Days by Crystal fell to 95. Again, full quarter at the Hot 100. But what about our returns and gains? Well, in the former group, outside of Again by Fetty Wap going viral on TikTok for some reason, surging back to 41, and Worst Way by Riley Green scraping back at 100, the larger story, it is feeling like The Weeknd, with Sao Paulo with Anita clawing back to 43, and you already had the highest gain with Timeless. As the rest of our gains, there's not many, but it's hard to complain. Wildflower by Billie Eilish got a boost to 32, Denial is a River by Doechii surged off the Grammy success to 27, more on her later for the best possible reason. Pink Pony Club by Chappell Roan got a very welcome boost to 18, and Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar rocketed back to 15. And with the Super Bowl performance, I would not be surprised if it winds up back in the top 10 yet again. But again, we are in big album bomb territory for The Weeknd, so outside the best, the worst, and the songs that made the top 20, I Can't Wait to Get There at 82, Giving Up on Me at 71, Take Me Back to LA at 69, The Abyss with Lana Del Rey at 68, Niagara Falls at 65, Enjoy the Show with Future at 60, Reflections Laughing with Florence and the Machine and Travis Scott at 53, very close to being an honorable mention for me, believe it or not, Baptized in Fear at 46, and Wake Me Up with Justice at 45. But alright, that thankfully makes this list of new arrivals more reasonable, so let's start off with number 96, Love Hangover by Jennie and Dominic Fike. And to think, of the Blackpink members going solo, Jennie's been the one I've been rooting for the most, pretty much just off the strength of Mantra, and then she goes to work with fucking Dominic Fike. And thus, this collab winds up feeling a little weird. Jennie is playing for these fluttery R&B vibes with a crystal clear voice off the fat liquid groove with hints of guitar snarl. The melodic hook on the chorus is remarkably strong there, but then you got Dominic Fike attempting a double-time overwritten rap flow, and not only does it feel awkward, it really does not match her self-assured tease at all. Yeah, the song was all about how they should probably absolutely move on, they're bad for each other, but the sex is so good. Very Maroon 5 energy there. But with Jennie, she's playful, she's coy, capricious enough to make it believable, even enticing. Whereas Dominic Fike is calling her a bitch by the second line and highlighting how much of a hassle it all is. Which, okay, if he actually is a new father, probably true, but it doesn't fit the mood at all. It's a real shame because everything outside of Dominic Fike is actually really damn good, but he drags what could have been a great song down to just being pretty decent at best. That's a shame. Number 92, Nissan Altima by Doechii.
Fake bluff, fake tough, niggas dick suck, put your six up for the motherfucking princess. Rates up, jigs up, put your dicks up, get your dick sucked, put your motherfucking sticks up. They suck, that's tough, nigga, pay up, get your rates up for the motherfucking princess.
Well, about damn time this crossed over, and also where I kind of don't want to repeat myself given that I put this song on my list of the best songs of 2024. And yeah, this is the side of Doechii that deserves just as much attention and proves that she is a force to be reckoned with. That spare melodic loop that builds into this terrific swaggering bass groove with the sharp trap whirs, immaculately produced, and then Doechii just careens across flows with a blend of cartoonish manic energy and bruising intensity. I mean, it's a shame to make the comparison now, but she reminds me a lot of when Nicki Minaj was in her early prime and hungry. There's a lane for women going this creatively hard. My favorite line is probably still, I'm the new hip-hop Madonna, I'm the trap Grace Jones. That is just such a ridiculously cool line that plays well into the queerness that underscores a lot of the song. But the entire track is loaded with these little moments of cleverness, and considering how tight it is, how much she can cram into a runtime of just over 2 minutes, it's legit impressive. Denial is a River, that's the introduction, but Nissan Altima is Doechii's proper arrival. Fantastic song. Number 84, Seven Dias by Gabito Ballesteros and Tito Doechii. There's a part of me a bit surprised that Tito Doechii has sustained so much momentum on his own, where now it looks like his cosign can get more regional Mexican acts to chart. In this case, Gabito Ballesteros, who hasn't crossed over much since 2023 outside of one Peso Pluma guest feature. And credit to him, his smoother voice offers a good contrast to Tito Doechii, who's starting to sound damn near cartoonish with the raspy flamboyance, and some of the guitar work off the more robust bass line has some rattling flair, especially after the hook, even if I don't think it makes a up for how goddamn canned all the horns sound, but then you translate the song, the lyrics, and you recognize it's yet another post-breakup I'm flexing and sleeping around to prove I don't need you. You know, after a 7-day bender where I called you 30 times, but you totally still need me, stop pretending. And again, it would kind of be funny to imagine these guys are singing to each other, but it's not that. It's just so goddamn obnoxious that any mature gestures at trying to move on, they ring hollow. The larger problem is that I feel like I've heard this template over and over, and this is not one of the better ones. I can't call it good, but the high likelihood is I'm going to forget it even exists, and that might be the bigger indictment. All I'm saying. Number 74, Opening Night by The Weeknd. So we only got a couple songs by The Weeknd to discuss, and it's a real shame we have to include the worst of the album when the superb 1-2 punch closing off the project never hit the Hot 100. But this... look, it's barely even a song. A lot of glossy but ugly clashing synths with all sorts of fizzy sparking effects and phone noises running for about 90 seconds, where The Weeknd is scolding a partner for being emotional and irrational and chronically online, and he's trying to prep for a show, but of course he needs this partner to give him everything he wants. So yeah, no surprise, it's toxic, we get it. But what I find more distracting is how bored and dismissive The Weeknd sounds singing it. If he can't even sound like he cares, why should I? So yeah, no surprise it's bad. It's gonna be nobody's favorite from the album, but you wanna know might have a shot to be that favorite? Number 48, Open Hearts by The Weeknd. When I open my arms, it's never easy. Falling in love again, falling in. Okay, of The Weeknd songs that charted, this is probably the best of them, mostly because it's one of the few on the album that feels like a really solid pop song, courtesy of the Max Martin co-write and production. The tight, pulsating bass frequencies with the cavernous echoes, they almost create a post-punk feel as the synths well up around the grand choral overdubs, including that gleaming 80s inflected post-chorus breakdown, all describing some heavenly figure that's helping The Weeknd fall back in love away from the chill of his own hedonism and how it's not satisfying him. Now, is this new for The Weeknd? Of course not. I wouldn't even put it among his best pop songs. It feels like it's missing a bridge, the lyrics are a little bit sparse, but it's also icy and gothic in the right way while not compromising the faster groove. Something Mike Dean apparently did not understand for whole swaths of Hurry Up Tomorrow. But still, great little song, should be an easy pick for an upcoming single. We'll have to see. Number 29, Abracadabra by Lady Gaga. Alright, credit to Gaga for launching this around the Grammys. She's really trying to make this album cycle work after Disease really didn't do much, and Die With A Smile is one of the safest songs she has ever been involved with. And yes, I'm including the soundtrack of A Star Is Born in that. Hell, probably even the projects of Tony Bennett. But with this sounding like a punchier Born This Way cut with a fast, oily house pulse and a heavier bass around the operatic vocals, it is certainly a step in the right direction. Watt and Circuit prevent it from sounding overmixed, glaring right at Blood Pop here, even if I don't love the grinding swell around the post-chorus. And if she is going to make a flagrant throwback, I like one that embraces some of the broad silliness of her peak early years. She's back to singing nonsense on the hook. We're back, people. Now, in this case, it actually makes sense. Gaga's trying to evoke magic in broad strokes, embracing the qualitative instead of the quantitative, the dark and surreal to cling to your power. And while, again, I don't think it's as edgy as she has been in the past, lyrically, this could have afforded to actually be weirder. It's probably the most I've liked one of her songs in, hell, years. It's not great, I wouldn't put it among her best, definitely, but if we get more like this, not gonna complain. Number 12, Cry For Me by The Weeknd. Like I cry for you, every night for you. Take it easy on me, baby, cause I tried with you. Saw my life with you, end of time with you. Now we're strangers and I hope that you still cry for me. Okay, there's a part of me that gets why The Weeknd's pushing this as a single. It plays into the whole contemplating legacy arc of the album, and amidst the opulence that's no longer satisfying, where he hopes that by the end, the ex will mourn for him as much as he cries for her, and that might be a metaphor for the audience. It's clingy, honestly a little petulant. The whole suffering from success motif is not one of The Weeknd's better themes over the course of his career, but I get why he thinks it'll work, especially as the production's trying to evoke some drill vibes. But I can't help but feel like it's undercooked. The pummeling main bass beat is so lumbering and huge that whenever it goes away, it leaves the song feeling weirdly unbalanced and hollow, even as the one main keyboard line jumps across frigid synth patches to try to add more differentiation. There's no tangible groove to it. It's trying to sound big without the full foundation, which has me wondering how much Metro Boomin was able to do when Mike Dean's drums are just swamping the mix. What it reminds me more of is the I'm Back Bitch single formula that we already got with Timeless. It's big and loud and kind of empty because The Weeknd's being big and loud, and it feels like empty spectacle. Not unlistenable, but I will say it's forgettable. And finally, number 2, I'm the Problem by Morgan Wallen.
Never do no wrong if I'm so awful. Then why'd you stick around this long? And
remember when Taylor Swift made Anti-Hero, where she very plainly recognized that she was often the problem, became a bit of a meme, but also prompted some interesting analysis around how she perceives herself in relationships and pop culture, a weary self-awareness that actually deepened her songwriting, made Midnight so great? Well, this is not remotely that. This is Morgan Wallen in pissy mode, where the girl said that he was the problem, probably rightly so, and he spends the song trying to guilt trip her for getting involved in the first place, as if she knew he was trouble when she walked in. But you know what, let's revisit that awfully produced single from Red that I still don't like, but I understand a little better. That's running on pure melodrama. It's making the bad decision for emotional reasons and then trying to process it. That can make for an evocative or interesting song. Whereas this gives off Steven Crowder energy with Morgan Wallen trying to demand this girl change his mind as maybe she's the reason for the problem, with a totally failed rhyme at the end of the hook that really bugs me. I mean, putting aside Morgan Wallen's reputation off record, how are you going to build multiple albums of self-destructive alcohol abuse, still playing the heartthrob, and then get angry when someone realizes they don't want to handle you anymore? Of course, in the song's narrative, it's just a toxic on and off again relationship where he seems frustrated and confused about mixed signals, and okay, I get that, but accountability has to cut both ways. The line that's most revealing is, "You hate that when you look at me, you halfway see yourself." A potentially revealing line that both of them suck, but in what universe does Wallen then get on a high horse about any of it? Especially when he still wants to play Adam Levine about how much you still hook up. And all that's kind of a shame because I think the music could be somewhat tolerable. I don't like the weirdly metallic overdubs on the hook, and the entire mix is suffocated in reverb, especially when that chalky popping drum machine comes in for the second chorus. But the layers of minor key, watery guitar rollick, they're decent. This song feeling darker, that could work. But Morgan Wallen is such an awful presence here. It's actively ugly and unpleasant to hear it. And it's got the push to stick around. Not looking forward to that. Or really the album. But that's our week. Yeah, Morgan Wallen's getting the worst for I'm the Problem. Even with a more tolerable sound, the writing pisses me off way more than Opening Night by The Weeknd as a dishonorable mention. Best of the week, though, easily going to Nissan Altima by Doechii with an honorable mention. You know what? Also The Weeknd, Open Hearts. And hell, the Doechii song, I really hope that gets traction. But next week, well, the fallout from all of this. Stay tuned for that. But until then, I'm Mark. You're watching Billboard Breakdown, affiliated with Spectrum Pulse. And I'll see you next time.